It is May 10th, 2017, and this is Atlanta United FC Weekly, week number 10. I am Tim, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Mr. Kevin Bradley and Dan James. Back by popular request, we're opening alcoholic beverages at the table. Hold on. That's my sparkling ice, guys.
There it is.
So we're keeping spirits high. You guys are self-medicating, I guess, coming off of Sunday's game against NYCFC.
What else are we going to do, Tim?
Just so depressed.
I have been drunk.
This is a playoff team.
If I stop drinking now, I might die.
This is a playoff team. If we don't make the playoffs, it's still a disappointment to me. I don't care. So obviously it is Wednesday. Thank you guys for tuning in or listening to us on iTunes. If you guys are listening to us on iTunes, Pocket Cast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, we're on anywhere you get your podcasts. Make sure if there is a feedback section like iTunes, leave us a comment, rating, a review. And we got some over the past week. If you want to go ahead and read those out to start the show, Kevin.
Yeah, you guys killed it this week. We got a couple new reviews and a couple new ratings. So thanks. You guys are awesome. Do you have them pulled up? I'll read the first one. I'll just hand you my phone to read the second one. So first one we got from Orby Trice, Orba on iTunes. Great podcast. Love their filthy mouth. Insightful, poorly prepared, organic conversation. Orlando's not the South. Yes. Nailed it.
100%.
And Dan, I got it. Oh, you got it? Cool.
Yeah, this review's by T. Smith, 2519. Entertaining and insightful. Really enjoy the laid-back analysis. Makes me feel like I'm sitting at a bar with friends discussing Atlanta United. Keep it up, guys.
I think that was the whole point of we didn't.
That's the whole reason why we do this.
Again, right? We didn't even anticipate doing this as a show. I mean, it started off just Kevin and I one night messing around, talking about a game, the first game that we went to on the main Home Before Dark show. If you guys want to go and take a listen to that, it's on iTunes as well and all the other platforms. But yeah, I mean, we're not backed by anybody. We don't do this for any money. I feel like I say this enough. I don't know if we said it on the show, but I mean, we really just want to have interactions with you guys. We love hearing from you guys. Yeah. We love, I mean, we are the poorly prepared guys at the pub
that goes out to the supporter section and it's like, oh, you got a faction? You got a faction? Let me see what factions.
Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo's coming in the summer. Don't you know?
Exactly.
Zlatan, bro.
Yeah. Zlatan. Oh, yeah.
Do you even Zlatan is what we're trying to figure out.
Atlanta United.
So last week, actually for a few weeks now, I think I was shaking in my boots in anticipation of this New York City FC game. And
I think whenever we started that away stretch, you and I were like, it's like there are two games coming up against this team and they're still without McNamara. And they are still so dangerous. Yep. They're among, the 2 or 3 most dangerous teams in the MLS. And they are, for the most part, extremely consistent in that regard. I mean, yes. So it wasn't a great game against New York City. We'll talk about the rest of the MLS, but at least with how depressing the loss was to New York City, at least some of the rest of the league faltered a little bit this week.
Yeah, at least we didn't lose 4-0.
Yeah, exactly. or lose 2 games in 1 week.
Yeah, what's that feel like, Orlando?
Yeah. Hey. Watch us get beat.
Oh, yeah, that's beat 4-0 and a missed PK in
your face.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So in Orlando, I hate saying this, but in Orlando's defense, I mean, playing 2 games against Toronto and then against Houston in the same week, it's kind of rough.
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
especially the way Toronto's playing right now is scary.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm glad we played them when we played them.
The way Minnesota played this week is scary.
Yeah, so we have
maybe we can just spend all episode talking about the rest of the league instead of our game.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start with a positive.
Okay. Oh, good. Yes, positives.
Dirty South Soccer, an article by Rob Usry talking about how Atlanta United should stick to its current philosophy. So it was basically arguing that as Atlanta should stick with their philosophy, even without Martinez, even though Kenwyne Jones doesn't exactly fit into our style, we should still do it because at least it allows players to bed into the system.
Yeah.
So even if you put Villalba up top, then at least we've got a similar play into Martinez that can run onto balls, who maybe not as polished as Martinez is, but at least what he showed in this game was his reactions were pretty on point.
Yes. To piggyback off of that, I know I'm a champion of the guy and I'm an apologist, but that was definitely one of my positives. It was at least the first 20 minutes Villalba's play that he had our two. It wasn't, the first one wasn't a shot on goal, but it drug just wide from that angle. And then he had another shot on goal that was, I think that, and I've said this before, I think that he should be starting up front.
Yeah.
Once Peterson gets healthy.
So the Peterson thing scares me, right? Because he's been eligible for 4 weeks.
No, he was injured. So he was eligible. Who did he warm up against? It was Montreal, I think.
Did he get injured again after that?
I didn't hear that. He must have picked up a knock in training. I don't know. It's so hard. That's one of my gripes I want to bring up later, is just the lack of information and how hard it is to scrub the internet to find information about injuries on MLS players.
And yet the media loves Atlanta United, which is as much as media loves Atlanta and how much potential this team has, you're right. It's hard to find any sort of injury reports or
it is. So we are definitely, and I think I said this last week, we're showing a lack of depth. We are showing that once we start getting a few knocks, we're gonna end up deploying people in positions they don't need to be in, and we're gonna find ourselves in trouble. Especially, I love that mentality of stick to your formation and stick to your style of play, because you don't want to have to go back and forth depending on who is.
Especially since we're an expansion team, you want to really put down a very strong foundation. Because I was reading the article and I was like, well, I would like them to be able to pivot just a little bit, but it's way too early to be doing any of that sort of crap. You just gotta lay it down, you get that strong foundation, allow it to cure, and then you can go ahead and make little tweaks here and there, maybe next year. But right now, just to get the guys all in line.
I agree.
Julian Gressel can chill out a little bit.
Yeah,
give him a little bit of support.
I will say, though, having Lorenowitz back was a huge help. That's another good positive for me, was noticed a huge surge in midfield play. Like, it still wasn't at its best, but...
Really? I felt like I made a meme and said, that Matrix kid?
I saw it. But still, again, I think it's... The thing that gets frustrating to me is it seems like week in and week out lately, the team that plays the first 20 minutes... Whoa, what just happened to my headset? There it goes. The team that starts the first 20 minutes of the game is not the team that's present the last 70 minutes of the game. And that's really, really frustrating to see. And so the first 20 minutes, Garza and LGP have some huge clutch tackles that prevent goal scoring opportunities. Lorenowitz is winning balls in the midfield and distributing. You see runs being made up top. Things are clicking, and I don't know what's happening after those first 20 minutes that things just collapse.
Yeah. We lose all sense of cohesion in this team. It's everybody's kind of on their own. It seems like everybody's playing their own game.
It was I took it as, after the DC game, Tata Martino just checked out for a week, because I felt like we played, apart from the first 10 minutes of the DC game, we played the exact same. There was no control, even just people's first touch. I remember a pass to Garza, he was on the touchline and he just let it run over his foot. And every time somebody was past the ball, they would immediately take a heavy first touch and just give away possession. It was immensely frustrating.
So it seemed like the one thing that you wanted to see us get away from last week, you were talking about that intricate, I don't know, aerial triangle play.
You still see that. They're trying to
bullshit.
They're really trying to. There's times to add flair to things. You don't have to do it every time that you have the ball.
Maybe try that flair next year.
I think it was the Garza heel, or not the Garza, it was the Gressel heel. Or was it Carmona?
It was either Carmona or Gressel.
Oh, and Gressel just dummied it.
But it just goes nowhere. I was like, what? Stop. There's no need to do that.
No, there was a Carmona back heel that I remember seeing that was completely ill-advised.
I'll say that, but then there's still strokes of brilliance. Like the Mears cut that got that guy on the ground.
That was
nasty.
I don't think there's any doubting that there is quality in every position that we have. I mean, we lack
having that quality for a full 90 minutes.
It's not even just that. Maybe it is that. I mean, I feel like there's chemistry that's just kind of gone down the shitter lately.
We thought it was building, right? Because that was the whole thing about a new team. They were going to have to build that, and now it seems like they've taken a couple steps back.
But another point I want to bring up, and I want to ask you guys your opinion on this, and I want to know: is it chemistry, or one of the things that we talked about after week 1 and week 2, the way we saw this team play, is how much fatigue is going to play into this season. How much are you guys seeing that? Because in the DC game, it was apparent to me in a 90-degree heat after 20 minutes, the reason we lost any kind of formation was because everybody was dog tired.
Yeah.
But I don't remember seeing and I may have just completely glossed over it, but I don't remember seeing any guys with their hands on their knees. Gasping for breath. I mean,
that's because Assad wasn't in the game. I mean, I have this weird image of him always bent he hustles.
Yeah.
He's not the fastest dude, but he hustles.
Yeah, he does hustle.
I don't know. I part of me feels like, especially in the DC game, I think somebody was saying that's our last. I can't confirm that right now because I'm so ill prepared, but
God damn it.
No, that the DC United game was our last day game for the rest of the season, I think.
Oh, really? Cool.
I think it is in terms of home games. I can check that
I'll
real
take
quick.
It. Don't worry about it. I'll take it. I'll take it as a gospel.
Yeah, it's fact. You said
I'll tweet it out.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say that.
But I hope it's not fatigue because
we have a 4:30 game against Orlando in town, and then I guess we have a 4 o'clock. Whoever said that, or no, maybe that was just in Bobby Dodd. Maybe I don't know, but
who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean, it's good for us that we're going to be playing night games, a good bit of night games.
Well, you say that, but I don't know.
One thing I will say,
I don't know if time's going to make a difference at this point.
Is we're at week 10, so I hope it's not fatigue. We're not that far in the season.
I know.
We're not even halfway through this thing.
Yeah. We're
barely a third. Not even a third.
Whatever. Let me just consult my computer. Yes. about
34 divided by 10.
3/16. One of the really frustrating things with me is, especially with that game and the same in DC, nobody wants to just play the easy ball. There were so many times I've seen Carmona standing a while just begging for the ball, and it's no, I'll just switch it up to the other flank in the final third, and no, nothing happens.
So that's the other point, and Tim and I talked about that during the game too, and we mentioned that on Twitter, which is lessons to be learned from this game and in recent games. We keep talking about how much they're passing and that tiki-taka play and how they're forcing some passes just for the sake of the play. More than that, I noticed this week was they were making passes at the expense of forward progress. And
how many times have you seen it get all the way back to camp?
Exactly.
After we're in the final.
Exactly. Play. I mean, it was constantly building up a play that they would just retreat from. That plus, again, 2 weeks ago, you said it, Almiron's reliance on his left foot, and now I cannot unsee it.
It's all you can see.
The rest of the MLS can't either. Part of me feels like he's got to work himself out of being figured out right now.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet from my boyfriend Rob Osray, and he said Almiron is the only guy in FIFA where he has a 0 weak foot ability.
I don't think I've seen him take anything with his right foot.
He won't pass it. He won't. I mean, and it's just awkward and clunky watching him pull it all the way back around just to where he can get it on his.
I mean,
left.
if he can reach the heights of Iron Robin, I guess you don't need a right foot or Van Persie.
That's right. He's still young. How is Iron Robin 45 now?
His head is. It's crazy because I'm pretty sure he's still only 32 years old. Oh my God. I'm serious. I mean, he was bald at 23 whenever he was at Chelsea.
And everybody's Bradley.
Everybody's he's old as shit. There's a basketball player you guys should look up who had old man face like nobody's business. He was 22, 23. No, playing in Utah. A guy named Keon Clark. This was back in the early 2000s. Looked in his 40s. He was mid 20s maybe. Wow. He was fucking awesome. He's kind of forgotten player at that time, but
kind of like Kevin.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and shave that. We're gonna shave that head tonight.
Not tonight. I started 30th birthday, and then I got the idea in my head, and now I'm thinking 29th birthday, just shaving this damn thing off.
We're not too far from there.
I know. Might just be before.
What were we talking about
next week?
So Almiron definitely needs to dig himself out of a hole.
He needs to just stay in that number 10. He just needs to stay central. I know he had to get pushed out on the wing, but he just need it. It's to the detriment of the rest of the team.
Well, especially because I feel like him pulling over central could help alleviate some of the lack of Kenwin being there whenever a fast break happens and Villalba is looking for somebody to cross to and nobody's at the top of the box.
Yeah.
That kept happening. I mean, again, it's that 20 minutes. Like, Kenwin's great, and he's in position.
That's why he needs to play the last 20 minutes of the game.
Slowly just disappears, and it's like,
I agree, Tim.
The game, yeah.
Play is built up, and then it stops completely because there's nobody to play a ball into.
It should be Brandon Vasquez instead of Kenwin coming on in the last 20 minutes. But
I'm ready to see him start.
I am too.
Well, but
no. Actually, no. I don't want to see him start. I think that the style of play. We're not built to play 90 minutes with a target man.
No,
we're not.
It's a pace change late in the game.
Yeah, exactly. We are not built for that. We need a false nine. We need somebody.
I agree.
Like Martinez. We need somebody that plays like plays like Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a problem tracking back further into that attacking third, who's not going to be just sitting in the box or just dilly-dallying behind the 18 while he's waiting for people to come up. He's going to be playing off the ball, going to be playing off of defenders, trying to get into open space. Kenwin Jones doesn't do that. Granted, he's made a whole career not having to do that. He doesn't have the athletic prowess or the speed, and his awareness is good. First 20 minutes, his awareness is good.
He's a lot more effective off the ball, but the thing is, when he fucks up off the ball, it's really bad, and it just screws everything.
And the other thing is, like, with Assad and some of these other players that we see fucking up or taking dives or whatever, like Assad in particular, we talked about that last week. Like, if he fucks up, you see that hustle come out of him where he's fighting to get the ball back. That has been completely absent from Kenwin. Like, I have not seen him not be there and then hustle to get back. Like, I just have. I don't know if I've not been looking for it, but like with Assad, it stands out. Garza, it stands out. Like, you see players that make a mistake and they are just fighting tooth and nail to make up for it before the ball has a full break to the back.
I feel like LGP is kind of in that middle ground there. I have not been too happy with his play the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I actually thought he was the best.
Really?
I got him as man of the match, but on Atlanta, yeah. I mean, it's not great pickings, but
his positioning to me, and maybe just the DC game more so is standing out to me still, but his positioning just seems so bad the past 2 weeks.
So any other positives this week that we want to talk? Mears, I thought, had a pretty decent. Like, he had a couple of really good.
I think Alec can. There's nothing he could do about those goals.
That second goal was just ridiculous. Yeah, and the first, Villa's placement. Like, how do you stop that?
All three of those goals, like Villa, you can't do anything about.
No.
The second goal
was completely unintentional.
Yes, Rodney Wallace's goal. I mean, it was
a total fluke.
Yeah, he went to go trap and turn on the ball, and it just went in. And then the third goal,
Maxi
Morales' goal. That was a defensive. That was just a defensive error. Not an error, but I mean, it's just
it was a real tech assist from Wallace.
Yes.
That just set him up.
And that turn that Morales made, and then to be able to just go opposite corner on that, I mean, that's textbook. I mean, can't do anything about that. So,
and I think that's what the stats kind of show. So, like last week, we talked about how bad it was that the stats were so stacked in Atlanta's favor for them to pull a loss.
This was even.
Like, this week's even.
It was even. They beat us in every statistic except for possession. I believe they had.
No, it was 50-50.
It was well. It depends on where you look because the score has it at 51-49.
No, but passing accuracy, they had 77. We had 73. Corners, they had more. Tackles, one. They had a couple more. But it was, it's pretty even across the board.
They were doing the same thing as DC were doing. When we would have the ball, they would just stack the box, and then they would break on us. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, they totally overran our midfield. We didn't have any midfield at all. It was just LGP, like he did with the DC game. They would play it out the back. He would dribble it up to the halfway line, and then he would pass it up. and therefore negated any sort of midfield.
Yeah.
So it was just all out attack. But then you know, that's quick. It's quick, and it's not sustainable. So you give up midfield, and then as soon as the attack's over,
then they're back
on your end, or they can just
through a hole.
They can even build it up. They don't even have to go fast.
So to me, the way you fix that is what we were talking about earlier. You drop Almiron back, and then you have a legitimate midfield, because you can't go if you're going to have an adventurous back four. I mean, Parkhurst isn't going to move, so say 3 out of those 4 are going to get adventurous throughout the game. You have to have holding midfielders. And I think the way that Carmona and Lorenowitz are being deployed right now, they're having to play box to box.
Yeah.
And especially Carmona plays box to box right now. And he'd be much better suited.
And so does Gressel.
Yeah. And we'd be much better suited to have them.
I agree.
I guess Lorenowitz plays a deeper set, but
yeah, but at least you've got 2 of them
phallic
there
formation.
Yeah, the Lorenowitz can hold back a little bit while Carmona pushes up. So, but see, I was thinking at some point we really just miss someone who could just put their foot on the ball and just hold it for a little while, and
or just
everyone the fuck down.
Exactly.
Which is what Almiron did for a few weeks.
Yeah, but
because he had coverage up front.
Yeah. He got pushed out on the wing, so he's not
we're just missing that star player that's got the experience to, like, we've seen a complete change in Chicago since Schweinsteiger came on. Villa every week, obviously. Kaká now over at Orlando. I mean, Orlando, and what's the other guy?
It was the first week.
What's
Rivas.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, those players just completely changed the pace of the game, and
you see what happens whenever they're out, whenever Villa's out, whenever in Portland's case, Nagby being out and Valeri being out.
What I would love to see, and unfortunately it's not going to happen because Man United just picked up his contract for another year, but Michael Carrick would actually be awesome.
He would be Lorenowitz like 5.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him, even like James Milner.
We could play him. Oh God,
Gareth Barry.
Even though James Milner may have cost us a top 4 spot, missing a penalty kick on Sunday.
It's Liverpool. You're used to it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, there's a lot of. I think there are a lot of fringe players that we can definitely go after in the EPL that I think would be suited. I mean, look at Sunderland. There's going to be a fire sale.
Well,
fire sale.
So Blackburn just got relegated from championship, and they have a striker,
Jordan Rhodes.
Yes,
you're talking about Jordan Rhodes, the Scottish player.
I'm not talking about Jordan Rhodes.
If only you guys had this information in front of you and could.
I was looking at it today. I was going to write it down, but then during my job, I just didn't do it. So,
what do you mean your job? This is our job.
That's right. Sorry. Yes, boss.
Well, I know that Jordan Rhodes played for them for a while. He's a very prolific. He's somebody I would love to see in the MLS, because he was again very prolific both at Huddersfield Town, and he was also at Blackburn.
Dan really wants to keep it going, but that means talking EPL.
Are you talking about Anthony Stokes? Or are you talking about Danny Graham?
Yeah, just keep naming names. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I guess no. Who does Jordan Rhodes play for now? He's but anyway, there are. The point is,
yes, there's a lot of players that can be picked up to provide.
There are a lot of players in League One
that
and
value that's
Championship,
missing of a pace player up top that needs to be on Atlanta's side at the top of the 18 to slow down pace and change the pace of play. So no, I get it. We don't need to name any more. Shut up. We're done.
Okay, so so speaking of names, does shout out to Valance for he's tweeting us out and all that. Yeah. He said the second goal.
Good
was
job,
luck.
Valance.
For fucking sure that second goal was luck.
Yeah,
Assad, I'm guessing, fits right back in whenever he gets back.
So that was going to be my comment: is what do we do this week now that he's back?
You take Gressel out and you put Assad back in. Yeah.
You don't think we change anything up with Kinwan up top?
No. So I definitely
will.
He won't. I think he should put the Alba up there.
Mm-hmm. So who would you put?
That's what I was going to say. Who you put on the
right?
Right.
In place
Almiron.
of the Alba. No,
right.
God damn it, Kevin!
Put Almiron.
Have you not been listening to a goddamn thing we've been saying?
Put Almiron on the right. He's got a nasty right foot.
Put him on the.
He's got the best right foot.
God, Dan's getting loud. No, I like.
He hasn't even hit the dark liquor yet.
So what do you do? So, for those of you who haven't seen, go back and watch Andrew Carlton's goal.
Yeah.
That chip that he put in against Cuba, right?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Agree.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was against, I think they were down. They were up. I think we're up 2-1 against Cuba, and he chipped the keeper.
Jesus.
Dan, come on. So stay on topic. On topic. We're losing viewers left and right. Dan, this is your fault.
Dan's ruining this.
So we're down from 5.
We may have 4. An opening on Atlanta United FC Weekly.
We are down from 8. We are down from 8 viewers to 7. So, no, I don't know what we do. My wish list is definitely to have Villalba up top. If Peterson is healthy, which I can't find anything on him coming back already.
Do we know anything about Martinez, which is the second question?
I still say we forsake the Portland game trying to bring him back. I don't care if he's healthy right now or if he's at 90%. I'm not risking that going on the road, traveling 3,000 miles or whatever it is.
Yeah, if you're going to bring Martinez back, it's got to be a home welcome, right? Bring him back in the Houston game?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I think you would.
It's sold out now.
Yeah. Shout out to Atlanta United fans and Jesus for, what is that? I mean, 4 straight sellouts.
4 straight sellouts.
Yeah. 45,000 at least every game.
Mm-hmm.
I love this city.
Yeah.
How'd you like that, Seattle?
Yeah,
how'd you like that, Orlando?
So that answers the question that we keep getting is it time to panic? Is it time to panic? Clearly, people are still going to games that are 3 weeks out, even after second consecutive loss. I don't think it's time to panic. I think this team has a lot of stuff to figure out. We had the same conversation after week 1, and we're still figuring that out. And that's a result of having players that aren't there and figuring out how to play without those players. And I think that still hasn't been addressed. And we talked about that last week, And
so again, Dan, I love the idea that you were saying. Rob I can't say Uzuri from Dirty South Soccer was saying that we need to continue playing our style of play. But if we don't have the personnel for it, I think we got to bend at some point.
Yeah.
Just at least
phallic formation. I'm telling you, it's going to work.
It always does.
So you're doing the 4-2 in the middle with Lorenowitz and Carmona, then you're doing the 2 out wide and then 2 in the middle. So who are you 2 in the middle? Jones and Villalba?
No, I think
just power tip.
I think it's Villalba and Assad. If we have Peterson.
Villalba and Assad at top?
If we have Peterson available.
Wait, you would put Assad up top. And
I feel like we need a diagram.
Peterson's a winger.
Kevin, I'm holding up my hands and drawing out the dots in the air.
And to me, I would rather have Assad not taking crosses into the box because he's terrible at it.
But he did have that beautiful assist.
So you got 4 in the back.
Dan, I think anybody could have chipped that with that much room.
So 4 in the back.
Oh, this is good. Are we down to 5 viewers now?
hold that up to the camera. I don't think the camera can see it now. It's too bright.
It needs to get darker.
Kevin's drawing the phallic formation. No, it's just getting.
I really
we're getting wildly off topic.
Think that Assad is better not forward. I think he's better on the wing because he seems to have that engine that he's kind of like that dirty player who will just break up
Craig Bellamy
attacks down the wing. Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not as bad as Craig Bellamy.
Excuse you? Fighting words. I'm going to take a golf club to you.
All right, so I think we've addressed positives, right? Any other positives? I think we've addressed most of the negatives at this point, too.
No, positive. One big positive we didn't address. Carmona's goal.
Oh, well, I was going to address that in goal of the week.
Okay.
Because that's definitely mine.
Okay.
So you got
one more negative.
Okay.
Swarming the ball doesn't work in midfield. So
you want a midfield. What else? I mean, they're there. They're playing the ball, Dan. What else do you want?
You're talking about like Carmona and Lorenowitz converging on the same ball at the same time, leaving runs available for that probing offense on.
There were lots of opportunities, like against Montreal, where we would be obviously, it's the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing really good around the 18-yard box of just swarming the ball, cutting it out, and getting it cleared. But when you do that constantly in the midfield, when you're further up, you're just leaving holes that the offensive player can just pass off and then bypass like 3 or 4 players.
Exactly.
Which is just ridiculous. Stop it. I'm telling you now, Atlanta United, stop it.
So any other comments on this game before we start talking about Portland this week?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I've got nothing else either. I think there's a lot to be figured out. I'm obviously disappointed, like I think most of us are. I think there was good to be seen. I saw a lot of people talking about the field dimensions as a big constraint for the team.
It's weird, right? We were talking about that as soon as we started watching the game. I think I made the comment as like it's weird seeing a baseball field fitted to be a soccer field.
At least it wasn't on like the old Raiders field.
Yeah, God, the Coliseum or so pro player down in Miami. Yeah.
It's so. I was looking at the field dimensions.
Oh my God!
Did you do a whole diagram? Yankee Stadium. It was 110 yards long.
Yeah,
and then 70 yards wide. Right. And it seemed like most of the criticism was coming because it was it wasn't as wide, so we couldn't get we couldn't get our width going that we usually excel and need.
Yes.
For.
Yes.
Minnesota United's field is the same width.
Oh, that didn't stop us there. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I guess the regulations.
I don't know what Bobby Studd does.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I guess I just never realized that. As long as I've been watching soccer, that the pitch can be between 110 and 120 meters long, and then 70
yards.
Yards. Sorry, yeah.
This is American.
It's 100 and 110 meters. Sorry, I'm reading off of and then 70 to 80 yards wide. Yeah, you guys use yards in England, right?
In football.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't make any sense. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the imperial system.
It's like a hybrid.
Yeah, it is weird. I remember going over there like, I get 30 miles to the gallon. I go, wait.
I've had people say, no, you use kilometers. And I was like, no, we use miles. And they're like, no, you use kilometers. And I'm like, dude, I fucking lived there for like 23 years.
I got it.
But then you watch EPL and then they show the amount of kilometers tracked by a player.
Yeah, it doesn't make me sense. I don't even know what a kilometer is.
And then how many stone somebody weighs. But
so, all right. So
35 stone. That's a big boy.
So now we got Portland this week.
Which we're going over to Portland.
Seemed to have some chinks in the armor this week. Lost 3-0.
Can I make a positive? Sorry.
Oh yeah, Dan's
so well.
He was only on page 3 of his notes. Sorry,
we've still got 8 more to go.
I'm really glad that our defensive line.
He's trying to make us look good right now. Yeah. Like he's trying to make us look prepared.
Yeah.
Even though Greg Garza flopped like 4 times.
Yes.
Like a bag of dildos. At least those 4 guys are staying together. They're playing together, going through the hard times and the good times. But in the face of diversity, or adversity, rather, you unite.
Well put, Dan.
Hashtag unite and conquer.
Can we talk about Portland now?
Blessed.
Who?
Do you want to look through the rest of your notebook to see if you've got any notes about Portland already?
Yeah, I'll just turn to this page.
Okay, great. So Portland this week fell 3-0 to, who did they lose to this week? I'm unprepared.
San Jose.
That's right.
Just in, guys. Chris Wondolowski just missed another shot against Belgium.
And Toronto.
And we're still not into the round of 16.
And Toronto lost tonight 2-1.
No, Toronto won tonight 2-1. Toronto beat Columbus 2-1.
That's it. Oh, God, Kevin. I had it mirrored.
It's so funny. We were talking about that before the show, how the schedule.
Mirror function on my Microsoft Surface.
I looked at the stats in the mirror.
The schedule's so screwed up. We were talking about that before whenever we were watching some highlights, and it's crazy to me that usually midweek games are played by teams who need to make games up. Like you watch EPL, it's you schedule a Tuesday, a Wednesday game so that you can make up positioning. Now you got Columbus and Toronto playing midweek, and they already have a game over some people like us, and then they go and play another game.
Yeah, they won 2-1. I get it. I was wrong. Thank you for clarifying.
Again, I've got amnesia. It wasn't meant to be a diss.
So who else plays tonight?
Nobody. That was the only game tonight.
Oh, okay.
Ricketts had 2 goals. Higuain had a goal for Columbus, but gotcha. That just, I mean, Toronto's on a freaking tear.
And we saw that coming too. They had a pretty slow start this season. I think
it's the Seattle recipe from last year, right? It's start slow, you have a great team, and then you just start. But they picked it up pretty damn quick. I mean, it only took them 4 or 5 weeks to really get going.
Yeah, I realized from watching those highlights, I don't think Josie Altidore has much body fat on him. He seems to be all muscle,
and he has chicken legs.
He does have chicken, and
he looks like he's about to topple over. He looks like he is in forward motion, like he's hovering over the ball at the entire time he's on it. But I guess that's maybe a good thing.
Yeah, he looks like a really in shape B.A. Baracus.
I could see that.
So we're playing Portland this week, who lost, obviously. And what are your thoughts going into?
They're without their best player right now in Darlington Nagbe.
Well, Audie's pretty fucking great too.
He is, but actually they're probably without their 2 best players, I would say, in Valeri and Nagbe.
Do we know if they're going to be out?
That's just how good that team is. I mean, they have 3-4 players. I mean, is it Sebastian? Is his first name Blanco, right? Who's pretty damn good himself.
That's correct, Tim.
Yeah. We still don't know. We have Nagbe still out with a hamstring injury. Valeri's out with a hip. We don't know. A hip injury. I hate when people say that. He's got a foot. He's got an ankle. Everybody does.
Whoa, some people don't, and that's offensive.
Yeah, you're not thinking about my diabetic friends out there.
Pour one out.
Thanks, man.
Pour one out for the diabetes.
So,
I'm so glad you have all your fingers and toes, Dan. I just want to take a moment.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
I'm not. At this rate, both of you guys can lose a fucking hand. It's going to be by Hammurabi's code tonight.
Sorry, Tim. We're just bringing this down.
So
I think we've gone from moderately prepared to poorly prepared.
This is going off the rails.
I think that it would be fantastic. You gotta stop whipping that around. I can hear it all the time.
Tell me what to do. I gotta be in the mic. It's gotta be in me. You say that every time, so I'm trying to adjust it so that I can give you what you want.
Nagbe and Valeri
does have to be in you.
Nagbe and Valeri being out, if they are out on Sunday against us, I think that is the ultimate recipe for us, because right now we need some sort of positivity.
We absolutely do. And something
we're 1-3-0 in our last 4 games.
It's awful.
It's crazy. We've given up 9 goals. In 4 games, we've given up 9 goals.
In 4 games, we've given up 9 goals.
And one of those games,
still not as bad as RSL.
That's true. That's true. RSL is giving up goals at a rapid pace right now. And you know who isn't, who was at the beginning of the season? That would be our expansion sisters or brothers, Manchester United, Minnesota United.
Minnesota's cleaning up. Even though they've still got a -10 goal differential on the season, they have the exact same amount of points.
Yeah, so in talking about Portland, that's a team, no matter, even with those injuries, they're still a dangerous team.
Mm-hmm.
They're...
Can I just say, at least we've got a positive goal difference, unlike Orlando.
Isn't that crazy? Orlando's in second with a game in hand in the East, and they have a net 0 goal differential.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. Well, New York's in 5th with a -4.
Yeah, Red Bulls have gotten lucky to get their points.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys feeling about the Portland game right now?
I don't know. I don't like every week. I feel like I have some sort of semblance of understanding about this league, and I am consistently proven wrong.
I think that's everybody. Even Schweinsteiger came out and said that. He was saying that he's like, I kind of knew what to expect, that anybody can beat anybody on a given week. And, he had people in England and people in America telling him what to expect in that regard.
I just don't know how that happens.
It's just parity, man. I mean, it's just a lack of quality.
It's like college football. It's just unpredictable.
Right, which is the exciting thing about college football.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, college football, you're dealing with amateurs.
Right.
And with MLS, you're dealing with up-and-coming players, or you're dealing with players who can't make it, for the most part, in bigger leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've fallen in love with the league, and it has everything to do with Atlanta United. I wouldn't have otherwise. but it's been fun to watch.
Oh, it absolutely has been, but it's also been equally frustrating over the past 4 weeks, like you said. I mean, watching this team go from, and the thing is like the media, everybody, I mean, even us, like I still think there's a ton of potential in this team, and I still think it's a playoff team, but I'm getting less and less. I don't know. I mean, so here's the thing, right? Like, and I mentioned this on Twitter, is that before this stretch of games, we talked about that 4-game away that they had, that we hoped that they would pick up a couple of wins on the road, and then we ended up picking up a couple of draws on the road. So
I still think that 4-game stretch was a success.
I think it was, but I wish it was a little bit more successful so that this stretch that we knew was going to be difficult is at least a little easier to bear, because now we don't have that point buffer in the standings, and we've got 4 more weeks of games that seem that much less likely to pull a W from. And we're currently, Toronto's got 22, so we're 11 points behind Toronto. I mean, Toronto's got 2 games on us, but still, even looking at Orlando, we're 7 points behind. In this stretch of games that we've got over the next 4 weeks, we're going to have to make up those wins that I just don't see.
We don't, though, right?
I mean, I know we don't have to.
We have to make up, at this point, to me, we have to make up 1 point. We need to be a playoff team. And Chicago's ahead of us with 12 points. We have 11. That is my goal.
I think we need to make up at least 5 to be in that 3rd to 5th
5
range.
Points in the next how many games? 6 games?
Yeah.
7 games?
Yeah.
All right. So Timbers, win-loss.
That's a loss to me.
Okay. Houston Dynamo.
I'm going to say win.
I'm going to say loss.
At home, so that team, I mean, like
2
that
points.
team.
You realize.
No.
New York FC back in Atlanta.
I think we win that game. We'll have Josef Martinez back.
Martinez back is the game changer.
Whitecaps.
That's the one that we take a hard loss.
That's away, right?
That is away.
That we lose
in
that
the
game.
Frozen North.
Yeah, I think that's a loss.
Vancouver's been playing great.
Then away at Chicago.
That's a loss.
I don't think so.
I agree.
I think that's a draw.
I'll put a point there.
Yeah.
Do a draw. Columbus.
Home or away?
That's
home.
away. Oh, that's the home one?
That is a home game. I think we win that game. I think Columbus is very inconsistent.
Right. DC United back up in the.
That's got to be a win.
You think? All right. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, no, I'll say it's a win.
I think that's a win.
All right. Then Colorado, I'll give us a win.
So that's a slaughtering.
All right. So 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 games. And then that's 12, 13, 14 points.
Yeah, but that's for us, not counting.
So 2 points a game.
No, I know.
But a 2 point a game average.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We can only think about us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a comment.
But some of that is very much optimistic.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on if Martinez is back.
So
it depends on
again
a lot of unknowns that we don't know.
To piggyback off of that, we have a comment on YouTube from Solomon Wadani. He's asking if Josef Martinez is back yet. And actually, it looks like this morning that Darren Eales was actually on 92.9 The Game, and he said that they're gonna play it safe. He's unlikely to play. So
yeah,
there's that.
He's not going to play.
No, I don't think that. I agree with you, Tim. I don't think that's the right decision.
No, not at all. Especially,
I mean, we're 2 weeks away from the Houston game at home. I really would love. I mean,
he's going to stay at home. He's going to be just.
I want him to have a home return. I think that would be great for the fans.
Well, plus, you don't want him on a plane for a total of like 10 hours, getting frickin' blood embolisms. I mean, come on.
Just give him some compression socks. He'll be all right.
Okay, so it turns out, Caleb Porter a few minutes ago, it looks like, or I guess it was at 7 o'clock. No, it was a few minutes ago. It was 7 o'clock Pacific time. This is from stumptownfooty.com, the Portland Timbers SB Nation. Caleb Porter has said that we'll obviously know more as the week goes along. I'd say Valeri is likely, unless you never know, you have some setbacks. So it looks like we have to prepare for Diego Valeri. Darlington, we just don't know yet. I think that, to me, is
a no.
He's got a hammy. So
yeah, you don't want to rush that, especially a player that relies on his speed and his mobility so as much as he does. I don't think you rush him back. So we will have to deal with Valeri, Adi, Blanco. So we're going to have our hands full. That defense is going to have our hands full.
That said, I will say, like, shitty deflection on the second goal against New York City. Great placement by the 2 goals that were scored legitimately by New York City this week. And I will even say a little bit last week, like the save by LGP last week, the cluster cuss in the goal this week with the save by Mears and then the chest save by LGP. I don't know. Like it's some of it is starting to maybe address some of my concerns about when that defense gets clustered into the box and being
but what do you do whenever that defense just is not in the box?
Exactly.
What do you do when what do you do when LGP is sitting on the outside of the 18?
You can't. I mean, exactly. I don't know how they should be in position. That's a big thing.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
That's
is that,
to me, especially the DC game.
I don't know if it's a communication thing where, like, I mean, Larinowitz is great about that and see that constantly where he's rotating out as Garza's running up or whatever to cover. But I don't know what that miscommunication is happening where players are completely out of position because they're taking a run up and nobody's covering for them or what. Same thing with the Larinowitz Carmona stuff in the midfield. Like, I don't know what it is that's causing that. And I don't know if it's a lack of communication or fatigue or what it could be, but I think that's causing some of those problems, as well as the lack of forward progress with these passes that are being forced sometimes, trying to be a little too fancy whenever it's unnecessary. I mean, just players out of position, that's the whole Kenwyne Jones thing, right? Like, I think there's a lot of these little issues that are creating a much broader one for the team as a whole. But that first 20 minutes is fucking great because everybody's at 100% and they're able to do that and they're hitting it the way that they need to, and then it just falls apart.
Yeah, it cascades.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I think this team is consistently one of the quickest scoring teams in the league, is that those first 20 minutes, it's like they're able, I mean, it's almost every game that Atlanta has scored a point in, it seems like it's always within that first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to try and – I mean, we've done that all season, though, right? I mean, we've tried to jump on the team in the beginning of the first half and the second half. Yeah. I mean, we start quickly. It's just a matter of trying to keep some sort of relative pace to that.
Well, it's like the 2 notable games to me, the Toronto game and NYCFC. So both teams came out immediately and just tried to press us.
And Seattle.
And
Seattle was the same way too, yeah.
It made us so frantic. Mm-hmm. And it was that anxiety that we need to just calm down, but there's no calming effect there. And what they're also doing is, trying these fancy flick-ons that are just up in the air, and nothing's played just along the floor to calm down.
So the other thing I've noticed, and that happened in the RSL game no, it wasn't the RSL game. Yes, it was the last win we had, because I think the same thing is happening. Even whenever we have a lead, there's a certain uneasiness that they're not playing comfortably even with a lead. And that can be just as concerning for me, where at the end of that RSL game, it just was a mess. Like,
yeah, it was horrible.
The defense was non-existent. They looked shaky and uneasy. It just, I don't know, man.
But I think the only 2 games I've felt comfortable were Chicago and Minnesota. Yeah. And
I'll agree with that.
I think just things are cyclical. When Jeremy Lin came into the NBA, he was a phenom. Like, nobody could stop him. But then they figured him out, and that's kind of like the end of his career.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a way to impose your will on the opposing team. So the past 2 games with DC and NYCFC, we have just completely reverted from what we are good at. We are good at speed, and we are good at short passes along the ground to each other. Mm-hmm. And we just completely negated those for both games. And we were just like, I'll just hoof it up 30 yards. Yeah. I mean, that's the sort of shit I do when I play pickup. These are professional guys, right, and I'm the worst soccer player I think I've encountered.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
So don't, I mean, I know.
And you still have all your toes, so that's more concerning.
Right. That's right. I mean, I know, of course, all of Atlanta United follow me on Twitter because I'm such a huge verified Twitter account user. Yeah. But you don't need to take a page out of my book.
So and there are many.
Another comment from our boy Salman on YouTube. I think I can echo these sentiments. He just says Atlanta needs a good center back. I think that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know.
In place of Parkhurst or Perez?
I think Parkhurst. I don't know. It's hard
to say. He's had a bad 2 game. Well, I pegged him as man of the match last week, but he didn't have a great game.
Yeah.
And
man of the match 3-1 doesn't mean much to me, Dan.
No, it doesn't. That's a good point.
Not to say I appreciate trying to find some sort of positivity in there, but
so what do you think? So what do you guys think this week? Score predictions.
2-1 Portland.
Another 3-1 Portland.
Yeah, 3-1 Portland.
Maybe 3-2. Maybe there's a late goal by Atlanta to make it interesting, but I think it's definitely a loss on the road, and at least I think it's going to be a loss on the road, which almost feel like I should say that every week since any sort of confidence in the league is always upended. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game, especially if Valeri's in. Yeah,
I didn't realize if Valeri's in, he'll be in the center, and they shift out Blanco to the left.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that. So that's not going to help us.
No, that's not going to help us at all. So we have now some official relegations and promotions going on in England and in Europe. I would love for those of you guys who listen and are fans of other leagues, I would love to hear, because especially there's usually a fire sale with teams who end up going down because they need to cut wages and they need to get ready to compete in a lesser league, I guess. And I would love to hear who people think we should try and go after. I think that'd be kind of fun to fun to hear.
So the Blackburn guy.
And also, who do you think we're not going to be able
We got another prediction. Someone's saying 2-2. I hope that's the fucking case.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
So we have teams like Hull City, Middlesbrough, and Sunderland.
Yeah. Did you hear about Brad Guzan and Middlesbrough?
Yeah. So we tried to file for a expediency.
And they said no.
Really?
Which I'm fine with. But for me, I think that's kind of shitty. I think that.
Oh, it's totally shitty. It's
what does that do for the
Middlesbrough owner just throwing his toys at the pram?
Well, no, it's not just that. No, what I'm saying
what's that do for Can and the rest of the
I think
defense?
that was a terrible move on Darren Eales or Bocanegra's part. Whoever tried to. I didn't look too far into that, but I think that could shake up some chemistry in the locker room, right?
You mean just because they tried to get him early?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were everybody had been thinking that Guzan was potentially coming in May anyway, and now he's going to be shifted back till.
No, he was supposed to. It was always July. The transfer window doesn't open until July.
Right. But
yeah.
May.
Even Bosman's, I don't think they can join us until July. He's on a Bosman, right? We're not actually paying for a transfer, right?
I have no idea.
God, if he just were a little bit more prepared.
So there are players. There's some pretty good players on these. Compared to what we see in the MLS for playing for Hull. You got players like Curtis Davies, who's their captain defender.
No, Curtis. Oh, nice. He used to play for Birmingham. He's a good.
He's a good defender and
centre back. With, a man on YouTube.
Yep. And then the other one, his partner in the center back position, at least on occasion, Michael Dawson, who has a veteran career playing at Tottenham, I believe playing at West Brom, and then
that's right,
yeah, and then playing for Hull. He's an upgrade to Michael Parkhurst for me. The problem though is we already have 3 designated players. Do you drop Villalba to bring in somebody like Michael Dawson or bring in Curtis Davis or Ryan Mason or some of these players, Andrea Ranocchia?
I don't know. So the Blackburn guy I found was Lucas Jow. So he was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. And of course, that loan has ended. And Wednesday are in the
Prem
playoff.
Now. Oh, that's right. They made it to the playoff. I forgot about the way that they do that.
But he's gone back to Blackburn because it's the end of the season. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. But he's comparable to Martinez. So he may be someone, if you don't want to play League One soccer in some cold, wet, rainy country.
So here's another question.
Alvaro Negredo
from
Middlesbrough.
From Middlesbrough, yeah.
He's relegated. He's getting up there in years. He's still a great striker.
Yeah.
So in talking about depth and addressing the issues with a Martinez injury or a complete formation changing injury, and we're talking about signing new players going into next year, do you approach it by filling needs from a player base and a bench standpoint that your depth is more consistent with the style of play that you play regularly to account for that? Because I think that's led to a lot of issues with this team, is that you have Kenwin as a substitution, which is a great change of pace, but then as far as a depth from a game to game, that has not been addressed in the actual.
You pick either Vasquez or you pick Jones.
I agree. Yeah, I agree, and I hope that that's the approach that's taken. So
yeah, you see that too with like Chris McCann. Mm-hmm. I mean, he really doesn't fit into this team.
Yeah.
So if you guys care at all,
I don't.
I was trying to figure out where the MLS is in terms of value.
And talking about like transfer market.
So value. So looking in where players could potentially go if they fall out of the Championship or potentially the Premier League. So the value of the MLS fits in just below the Premier League in Ukraine, and then above that, you've still got the Belgian Pro League, the Eredivisie in Netherlands, the Russian Premier League, the Portuguese Premier League, the Super League in Turkey, obviously Ligue 1 in France, Bundesliga, Serie A, and La Liga in the Premier League. So I didn't realize that the MLS is pretty competitive. You've got a lot of lower leagues. Even the Championship is lower than the MLS that players could potentially go to. So I think it shows the strength of the MLS, and two, the wider crop of players that could be available.
It's getting there, right?
Yeah.
Right on. So around the league, speaking of MLS, goal of the week, Carmona's mine. Dan?
Oh, it's David Villa. Because he played Atlanta United. But it was just the header from Herrera on the touchline, which came from Villa, header to Wallace, who then backheeled it back to Villa, and then Villa just stormed in completely unopposed.
I think,
trashed it into the net.
That scramble, or that the organization on that side and that attack from them, and then our scramble is kind of what you were talking about with our midfield kind of all congealing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just opens up too many lanes for a team like that.
Yeah.
I will say Ellis and what's his name? Starts with a Q. Quinto, something from Houston. Their goals against Orlando, just because it was
Manotas.
Yeah.
The first touch. He just totally just killed it. And
so it looks like Houston's back on track. They look dangerous again. They look a good team.
Do you know when they play Dallas? That'll be a good game to watch, because Dallas are in form as well.
Yeah, Dallas is leading the West right now.
They are the only unbeaten team in MLS.
It's crazy.
And they are leading. So Dallas has 2 games in hand on most of the West, I think. They have a game or 2 games in hand on most of the West. And then the only other team that's played the same amount of games as them is Colorado, and they still have the lead.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
28th of May, Dallas, Houston.
So if Dallas, let's take a look at Dallas's next 2 games. NYCFC
and San Jose.
And then San Jose. I mean, those are 2 tough games for them. I think they win both of those games, and I think
I'd love for them to take down New York City.
I think that'll be a draw.
Think about that point differential. If they win both of those games and make up those 2 games in hand they have, that puts them up by 6 points on the nearest competitive team.
True. But I think, as well as Atlanta, these things are cyclical. So they've hit a run of form right now. We've hit a down run of form. So, in 2-3 weeks with the unpredictability.
But MLS, Dallas has not had a down.
No.
Yeah. And I guess you're only as good as your last game.
In which case, for them,
they had a really great last game. So
they're looking to be the best team in the league right now. They and Toronto are definitely both on tears.
Mm-hmm. And Orlando looks pretty good. I mean,
not really.
I mean, aside from this week, but that was a really rough week. 2 really shitty losses, one of which could have been really bad.
Yeah, I mean 6-1 in goal differential.
Yeah, that's
in 2 games in a week. Good. Yeah, not at all. Suck at Orlando, though.
Yeah.
Hashtag Orlando is not the South.
You're basically...
Say it loud, say it proud. Orlando is not the South.
You're just Disneyland.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, so... CJ, can we talk about CJ?
And we really wanted to reach out to like The Roar, which is their podcast, to like have a team up show, but I think it's just going to get out of hand, and our fan base.
I think that would be pretty fun.
I think it would be, but I think our fan base would hate us for it because they hate Orlando so much too.
We should just do that.
We can do whatever the hell we want. So
yeah, that's true. I want to give a clap for Philadelphia Union for getting their first win in 200 plus days
with the hat trick.
CJ Sapong has catapulted himself into the lead, or tied for the lead with
Golden Boot, right?
Kubo Torres for the Golden Boot. Behind Kubo Torres and CJ Sapong is a man that I cannot wait to get. Yeah, shout out to you, Valance. Fuck Orlando. For Minnesota, I love Christian Ramirez. That guy is so fun to watch. Just the audacious attempts that he takes.
That header.
How clinical he is in heading the ball.
That header.
He is a great. He is what I would love for Kenwyne Jones to be.
Yes.
In terms of he's mobile.
Yes.
But at the same time, he possesses the same skill set as Kenwyne Jones. He's just not as big, and he's very good in front of goal. Minnesota is 2-1-1 in their last 4 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well. And they're coming off a big win.
Yeah, they are. Mastroeni's got to get fired soon, right? From Colorado.
Yeah, it's looking likely.
Yeah, they look so terrible.
It's such a fall off in form from last year.
Yeah, especially whenever you bring in Tim Howard to play keeper too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you listen to all those games, and then you've got Brad Guzan, who's the backup behind him for the U.S. national team.
Yeah, exactly. Which
it's not Howard's fault. It's not.
So, any other comment? I think that pretty much wraps up league play. We got our predictions and positives and negatives. Nobody panic. I think
no, not at all.
I think this team's going to bounce back. Obviously, we know that players are out that are going to be back in, and there's a lot of stuff that this team needs to figure out, and hopefully they will before it gets to be too far gone. But as of right now, it's not that way, and a lot of stuff can happen. There's still a lot of games to be played. We're not even a third of the way through the season. So,
right.
Yeah. So you can find all of us on Twitter. Tim, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Tim Herb.
Dan?
DNJMS.
You can find me as well at The Architect. That's at _ARC TECT. Collectively at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. Check out the website, gethomebeforedark.com. Check out the other show, just Home Before Dark. As always, throw up 5 stars. Throw up a review if you want to hear it read on the show. We love the hell out of you guys. You make this the best part of my week each and every week. And I mean, you guys that listen and you guys that I get to sit across the table from, this is awesome.
Oh, highlight of my week.
Yeah.
One last reply. Selman asked, we did cover this at the beginning of the show, but I mean, he's watching and it's live. Tata Martino should drop Kenwyne Jones and Julian Gressel. Yes. On both counts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,